Hello everybody and welcome back to the Tabletop Temple, where we paint, we play, and we pray to the dice gods. This is going to be a new video series I'm starting today, and it is going to be me painting all of the Griefbounds and Hunters inside of Grimcoven, or really all the miniatures in general. And the first one I've gotten started with, no pun intended, is the Undead General. Now, what I'm gonna do is the best interpretation that I can, because I don't want all the colors to be all the reds and the dark gray colors. I want to add some color to the world. So again, I'm gonna interpret the artwork as best as I can. So what I've decided to do was slap chop them to bring out those highlights. And I know a lot of people have a bit of hiccups when it comes to slap chopping, but I like it because it makes the miniatures look good and it gets to the table a lot faster. So I'm gonna slap chop all of the miniatures in it, not just the Undead General. But anyway, let's keep going with the video. And the first color I'm starting with is Citadel's Rattling grime thinned down with some water to go over his cloak. So taking the same thinned down Rattling grime, you want to get the banner on his right side, because I wanted to make the other color pop on the other two banners as well as his loincloth, because you want to tell a story here. You don't want everything to be the exact same color. Maybe he decided to, I don't know, just rip off a shirt or something and decided to put it as a banner. But the next color I decided to go with the loincloth and the other two banners is Army Painter's Murder Scene. It's a reddish purple speed paint, and I truly think it goes very well in hand with the Rattling grime on his right banner, as you'll see in just a second. But get it on his loincloth and get it on the other two banners. Make sure you get the back as well, but I will say this: get inside of the banner as best as you can, because it is a very tight fit and you can easily get paint on other parts of the body that you don't want on there. So it can be very tricky, but do the best you can. Now I've also decided to go with Murder Scene on these two cloths that are underneath these candle holders, I'm assuming, but just two. Now the next color I decided to go with was for the wood on the banners themselves, and what I decided to use was Hardened leather from Speedpaints and Army Painter. So I didn't want them to, I still wanted them to look like wood, but I didn't want them to be too dark. So that's why I decided to go with Hardened leather. Make sure you get underneath them in the back, because there's a couple of poles in the back, and there's one at the very back of him that's sticking right behind his cloak. That's the banner that the Rattling grime is on, and it's also wrapped by bandages, so you want to get in between them as well. But just do the best you can. So before moving on to the next color, I just wanted to take the time to show you that this is what it looks like after the first couple of steps. With that out the way, let's move on to the next color. So now it's time to go over all of the armor bits, and I've decided to go with Speed Painter's Polished Silver. And there's a particular reason why I did it like this, and it's going to make sense in a second. But go over all of the armor bits that you see. You also want to make sure that you get his sword right in front of the banner as well as the handle. Now here's where his armor is going to get interesting. You want to take some Citadel darkoath flesh and you want to thin it down with some water. Not quite as a wash, but just enough to where it won't pool and be very thick. And you want to go over all over the armor bits. Don't go over the sword, just the armor bits, because what that's going to do for it is it'll give it this very aged, weathered, undead kind of look. Now once the darkoath flesh dries, it should look something like this. Now we're going to go over all of the chains and the candlestick holders, and for this color I decided to go with Talos Bronze from Speedpaint Army Painter. Be careful with this paint, because if you don't shake it well enough, it can become a little more pooly, and when you apply it, especially with a freshly cleaned brush, it'll get everywhere, so be careful with this speed paint. And this is what it's pretty much going to look like once all the chains are painted. But don't forget that there's some chains on his base as well. Now it's time to go over all of the bandages on the spears and the banner poles, and for that color I decided to go with grunta fur. And I think it's a nice brown that acts as a counteract to the hardened leather that brings out both just enough. Now for the next color, I decided to go with grunta fur again, but this time I mixed it with a 1:1 ratio with blinding light from Speedpaint from Army Painter, and this color is gonna go on the candles. I decided to go with this color because it just makes it look like that really old aged wax. Also, don't forget that there is some candles on the base as well, so make sure you use the same color to get them. I forgot to record myself painting those vines that's on his base, but I chose the color Hardened Leather. But the next color I decided to go with is for the candle flames themselves, and I went with Hexwraith Flame. The reason being is because, like in Warhammer Age of Sigmar, the chain rasps have these really green, macabre look candle flames in their Hexwraith Flame, and it's very beautiful to look at. Now this part was a little tricky for me because I couldn't quite figure out what was going on with his head looking at the artwork, but to me I guess there's some sort of bandages about him and his head just maybe looked like it was squished, so I decided to go with Flesh Tearer's Red for this bit that's above his neck armor and the blinding light for the bandages themselves. I'm assuming they're bandages. I mean, if somebody can prove me wrong, please do. For the sword itself, I decided to go over it with Gravelord Grade to give it a dark look and paint inside the cracks with White Scar. And I painted around the bases Agrax Earthshade and the headstones Gravelord Grey as well. So the reason why I painted the inside of the cracks of the sword White Scar is because I wanted to go over them as well with the Hexwraith Flame, and the reason I chose that is because I wanted to make his sword look like it was empowered somehow. And after painting the brim of the base red, this is the final result for the Undead General. I know I'm a speed painter and I use the slap chop method, but I truly am proud for the way he came out and how he looks on the tabletop itself. If you liked today's video, guys, please drop a like, leave a comment, and feel free to use this video to paint your Grimcoven and the future videos that I make for it. But don't forget to subscribe to my channel, everybody. It truly helps me out, especially when I go live so I can chat with all of you. I'm your friendly neighborhood guru. I will see you all on the next Tabletop Temple. Goodbye, my friends.